Now, our next speaker, and the next speaker is Timofey Barabashin, who is going to tell us about cetacean sightings.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues. I would like to talk today about the studies of the number of cetaceans in the Black Sea. Usually we do it in the coastal areas, closest to the territorial waters of the Russian Federation, closer to aerial or vessel surveys. We also use drones, and we also make underwater videos, but usually in order to calculate the number of animals we do it in the spring or autumn or summer, but not in the winter time, because it is very difficult to carry out this work on vessels during the winter time. We understand that there is a lot of interest in the sightings and the studies of dolphins. In winter, however, such studies are of greater interest because this is when the dolphins migrate towards the places where a lot of fish is observed. We have done a lot of surveys closer to the economic zone of the Russian Federation, and most of the licensed areas of Rosneft. However, there have been no such surveys in the faraway areas, but the results of our surveys are the sightings of 2019 as part of a complex programs on Professor Vodyanitsky vessel, together with the Russian Academy of Sciences Institute. We conducted an expedition of 26 days, making surveys as the vessel moved along the shore. During the survey, the vessel moved at a speed of 6 knots, and that made it easier to calculate the number of animals observed. Over this period of time, we have covered more than 700 kilometers at 35 transects in 7 sections. The total time of recording amounted to 41 hours, and the occurrence was estimated by the number of individuals encountered per 1 kilometer of the route. These transects that you can see on the slide were located in 7 main areas: northwest, number 2 is the so-called south, number 3 is Crimea, number 4 South Crimean, number 5 is called Chowder, number 6 Central, and number 7 is the Bay. This is where the transects are located. This is where exactly we were able to conduct our survey. We did it in December in the regions of the Black Sea. Over this period of time, we have seen a lot of dolphins. 632 individuals have been sighted. But out of the 3 species of marine mammals that we can find in the Black Sea, only 2 have been sighted. We are talking about the common dolphin and the harbor porpoise. The dolphin sightings in various areas of the Black Sea were very different depending on the transects. From 0.14 to 2.2 on average. These are in individuals per kilometer of the route. The majority of dolphins have been seen in the central part. In the Crimean and South Crimean transects, the average was 1.1 and 1.2. In the northwest and in Chowder, on average, we saw less than 1 individual per kilometer. These results are a little bit different from the general understanding that the majority of dolphins are found closer to the shore, where there are a lot of fish. In accordance with the general understanding, the dolphins are supposed to be in Chowder and in the last transect. But because of the survey methods, we were not able to calculate the sightings during the storms. and storms are quite common in winter. So we could only make calculations during the periods of good weather, where it was actually possible to see the animals. So based on that, the shore or the areas around the shore were not very well covered during the survey. Another point I wanted to make here is that you can see on this slide the distribution of sightings of dolphins by species. And the majority, the overwhelming majority of sightings were for common dolphins. And the harbor porpoises, there were only 9 animals that were sighted. And you can see on this map the locations where we have sighted harbor porpoises, mostly close to the Kerch and once far away from Yalta. Yellow indicates the concentration areas for common dolphins. So 99% of all the dolphin sightings were for common dolphins. Also on this map you can see the distribution of fish catch by commercial vessels in the Black Sea. You can see very well that the main catch is happening near the Crimea here, and also in the commercial waters that usually is full of pelagic hamsa. But as you can see, the areas of major sightings of dolphins and the areas of fish catch do not overlap. What kind of conclusions can be made here? The majority of dolphins were concentrated far away from the shore, outside the territorial waters of the Russian Federation. Usually there is no commercial fishing there, and there are no fishing vessels out there. But the concentration of dolphins usually is concentrated around fish. So maybe it is because the Black Sea hamsa and the pelagic sprat are found in those areas. The materials on sightings of dolphins can also show the general distribution of marine mammals in the Black Sea during the winter period. It is possible that there is a lot of common dolphins in the central part of the Black Sea in winter. Because of the warmer winter in 2019, the distribution of fish in the Black Sea was also very unusual. This is all I wanted to tell you in this short presentation, but let me also add that this project has become quite active by the Azov and Black Sea branch starting winter 2019. In 2020 we had surveys in autumn and summer. We are processing the results right now, and I hope to be able to present such data later on. We have covered a lot of shore areas where traditionally we can sight a lot of dolphins. These data, I think, will be of great interest to all the researchers. If you have any questions, I will be happy to take them. Timofey, thank you very much. You have saved a lot of time for us, and also you saved a lot of time for your questions. I can see one question here in the chat. What is the total area of the surveyed section during your expedition? This is number 1, and then there's another one. Well, the survey area, let me return to this map here. The transects that we have surveyed in the Black Sea, if you look at the sightings of the animals, I would say that there are more than 710 kilometers of the route that we covered during this survey. I would say 450 square kilometers, because we could usually do that in fine weather on the Professor Vodyanitsky vessel, and therefore the whole survey area was much greater. Thank you very much for your answer. The other question From Anastasia Uluduz, she has 2 questions. What could be the reasons for the lack of sightings of harbor porpoises in that particular period? Thank you for your answer. Well, the answer is as follows. The main areas that we have surveyed are far away from the shore. And my experience shows that harbor porpoises usually are concentrated around the coastal area in the Black Sea. In fact, sightings of harbor porpoises away from beyond the 12-mile zone is an unusual thing. I personally have seen maybe 2 or 3 times a harbor porpoise that would be further away than 12-mile radius. So the majority of our survey was conducted far away from the coastal area. Therefore, I believe this is why we have not seen harbor porpoises. Thank you very much, Timofey. We still have some time left, but we are trying to make sure that we are on schedule so that people could jump between the 2 sections. And I will then continue the session. But I have one more question for you, if I may. I have a question about your future plans. Do you plan to have more of such winter surveys? Because it's of greatest interest to everyone, and there are very few such winter surveys. Do you plan to continue them, maybe in the eastern part of the Black Sea? And there's a connected question to it's connected to Anastasia's questions with regard to harbor porpoises and common dolphins. It could be interesting to study the eastern part in winter. Yes, you're right. Traditionally, both common dolphins and harbor porpoises are concentrated around the Hamsa fish concentrations. And the Azov Hamsa spends the winter right there. But because of the weather condition, there haven't been such big concentrations. So we have not seen a lot of dolphins around that area. However, last year and this year we have seen a bigger concentration of the so-called Black Sea Hamsa. And it is possible that the dolphins concentrated right there, mostly harbor porpoises and common dolphins, as well as bottlenose dolphins. We have plans to continue our surveys in the winter period, but because of the pandemic we were not able to do that. In 2021 we have plans to resume our work, and we will try to make a focus on winter surveys in the eastern part of the Black Sea. Thank you very much, Timofey. And the final question, is there any survey for official fisheries? Anything on the bycatch? According to the official rules, the fishermen are supposed to write down all the bycatch of dolphins in their logs. And as a research organization, we always have to look through their logs. Our specialists work on vessels, but not on all the vessels, it is clear. It is impossible to put a researcher on every fishing vessel. The cases that would have been seen by our experts, we have not had those. As to the official data on the entire Black Sea basin, I have to say openly, the fishermen just do not record such cases, because this may cause all kinds of problems for them from the regulating authorities and from the border guards. So clearly, in such situations, we see that officially there is no bycatch of marine mammals during the commercial fishing. And there's no such thing officially. So did I understand correctly that your researchers do not see any bycatch? They are supposed to see it, but they don't see it. So that means that there is no such thing. Well, our surveyors, our people are on vessels. They don't see anything, but that doesn't mean that other vessels do not have that bycatch. Yes, I understand, of course. But let me just explain that, for example, you have 25 to 30 vessels, and maybe one of them has a researcher from our organization. Thank you very much. I have to stop here, although this is a highly interesting topic, and I hope that this will be covered by other presentations, because I was also surprised by the fact that the fishermen were very much afraid of various sanctions for bycatch.